What is up, guys? Pie Muffin here, and we are back with another Tales-related video. So, this is not the thing I was expecting to make a video on. I wasn't expecting to make a video today at all, actually, about Tales. Obviously, Tales of Xillia Remastered is barely even I think 3 weeks old at this point. Let's see, it came out on Halloween. One, two, this Friday would have been 3 weeks. So it hasn't even been 3 weeks, and they just announced Tales of Berseria Remastered, which will be coming to all consoles. And obviously, I want to say the reception for this has been mixed, but it has been more just disappointment and anger than it has been like some happy, some sad. I'm one of those people where this doesn't really bother me per se. But we'll get into that in a minute. So yeah, Tales of Berseria Remastered has been announced. It is coming out when is it? February? Yeah, there it is. February 27, 2026, which is actually kind of fitting because it did also come out in February. I don't know in Japan when it came out, but I know for the US release, which is obviously what I played, it was I believe it was either in like late January or early February. Because I remember, quick story. When I first got into Tales, the only ones I had really played in the early 2000s, I played Symphonia, Vesperia, and Dawn of the New World, Symphonia. And then because I didn't own a PS3 growing up, I was more of an Xbox and Nintendo kid. I didn't play any other Tales games until I eventually did. I got a PS4, and then actually no, that's not true. I got Tales of the Abyss on 3DS, but then after that, my next Tales game was Tales of Zestiria on PS4. So I had like a pretty close to 8-year gap between not getting games. I didn't play Xillia and Xillia 2 for my first time until about 6 years ago. 6-7 years ago. But yeah, so that's kind of cool with that. Obviously, so let's just talk about everything we have here, and then we can talk about the the consensus of how people are feeling. So there's not really much to say here. Obviously, this is a pretty modern Tales game. It is the second. I know, obviously, we had a long gap between Berseria and Arise, but it is still the second most recent Tales game to ever have been made. So it is kind of funny. So modern, that they're adding. I'm pretty sure, didn't the original game already have kind of like map markers? So I don't think it really needs that. Obviously, the only other thing we know we're going to expect, because they've been in the last two remasters, is you'll likely have the grade shop from the get-go. And then, of course, all the DLC will come with it. Which is always nice. And then, obviously, the main reason, so we can start talking about, why is this being made and why is it being made now? One, Tomizawa said the easiest ones to make are going to get made first. So let's just get this out of the way. Berseria is being done now. We know Xillia 2 is being worked on, so Xillia 2 is probably going to be next. And then I'm not even going to, mess around. Zestiria is likely coming after Xillia 2. And the reason they are doing this, even, a lot of people will say it's not necessary, which I, to an extent, agree. It's not necessary because you can still play it on PC and you can play it on PS4. That is where it's, PS4 and Steam, which obviously is going to be on Steam again. So the main reason I believe that they're doing this is to get these two. They want Xbox and Nintendo to have this game. I kind of joked around about, what if they did like a collection, Zestiria and Berseria together, which obviously they're not doing here. They're doing it solo. But I did think that at some point they were going to do it for, Nintendo Switch and Xbox, just because during this whole thing, they're trying to get these games onto all consoles. So I did expect that this was going to happen. I think this is the main reason they're doing this. And obviously these two are just getting it by proxy. I feel like if Tales was not, branching out to doing it for these consoles, I don't think this remaster would be happening. So the only reason they're essentially doing a PS5 upgrade And another version of Berseria on Steam is because they want to get these two. Now, I am kind of surprised that we're not jumping into Switch 2 yet. Like, why is there not a Switch 2 version yet? I mean, even Zillia, has no announcement of getting a Switch 2 version. It's just you play the Switch 1 version on Switch 2. So it is kind of interesting that, Tales of All Series, because even the Falcom games are already jumping in on the Switch 2 stuff, and it's usually them that are the furthest behind. But hopefully at some point they'll hop on doing the Switch 2 stuff. So now let's just talk about the overall. There was one more thing I want to talk about that is really my only problem with this being remastered, and that's this. So I don't know where this is from because this isn't on the Bandai page, but people have this from somewhere, so maybe someone can tell me where this is from. But I just saw it floating around. So some expressions have been changed from the original version. So in the original version, in Japan, obviously spoilers, I guess, if you haven't played Berseria, Laphicette's death at the beginning of the game, this is what it looked like in Japanese. It was just Artorias straight up stabbing him, whereas in the overseas version, because they didn't want a high age rating, they created this thing where he's kind of lifted into the sky by magic, and then just these crystals kind of impale through his body. Which, honestly, this one just seems more brutal for Laphicette himself, but obviously I get why people like this. So this sets the tone a lot better with Artorias as a villain, as opposed to this one. And it seems like even now, all versions of the game are just going to have this one. It would be nice if they just let you choose, like, have a censored and non-censored thing in the settings, so all the scenes like this, you can see it if you want to, but maybe there'll be enough backlash with this where they will consider it, but I think they're doing this for an age rating thing. I don't like this. I would much rather just have the original version, but, it is what it is at this point. I've already played the game with the censored version, so it's not like I can be like, oh my god, I'm not going to play it now, how would I ever, all that kind of stuff. So now let's just quickly talk about, what people are feeling. So people don't want this happening now, and rightfully so, because we have so many earlier Tales games that are just not accessible, either not accessible at all in the West, or just not accessible at all on modern systems. Obviously, Berseria and Zestiria are games you can still play on PS4, and you can play it on your PS5. You don't need, obviously, to plug in your PS4 in order to play it, because you can still obviously play your PS4 games. And then same thing with Steam, like it exists on Steam. So obviously, you'll get people who will be like, well, I only have a Switch and I want to play it. So obviously for those people this is great, but for the people who do have a PS4, PS5 or have a PC, they've had this game for years. So I do understand that aspect of it. But like I said, it doesn't really bother me that much, because I'm sure this took them like 10 minutes to put together, because all they have to do, it's already a modern game. So all they literally had to do was add their quick quality of life stuff, make all the DLC, and then it's like, all right, this is ready to ship. And I'm sure it's going to be the same thing with Zestiria. Whether Zestiria is after Berseria or it's going to be Zillia 2, I'm sure it's going to be a similar thing with both of them, where, like 3 or 4 weeks after Berseria Remastered comes out, they announce that one. Where it's really going to start to slow down is going to be after that, because then we really will, at this point, if they're doing Berseria, like, I do want them to do Dawn of the New World as well. Like, just do it. Like, I know you're going to have a lot of Western people in particular just aren't huge fans of Dawn of the New World, but, whatever, who cares about them? So just slap that out there, and then you'll officially be done with all the PS3 titles, and then you can move on to the older stuff. I completely understand people who, people want Abyss, people want Eternia, people want, Heart, people want, just everything that comes before the PS3 era, and I want them too. But it's just the reality that this is the easiest thing to ship out, and because they want to get all these other consoles, it's going to be the easiest way for them to make money in the short term, while they're still working on the next mainline title. So that's how I kind of just see things. I completely understand where people are coming from, with their frustration, because like I said, people want these other games, Destiny 2 and, you know, the remaster of Destiny and Rebirth. You know, these are games that are not available in English at all, and people just want them over here. Um, I think it'll come at some point. It's just not going to happen now. And then one more thing I just want to quickly touch on is that I'm seeing a lot of confusion from people that people think once December 2026 rolls around, that's going to be the end of the remaster project, just because that's the end of the quote unquote 30th anniversary. I don't think I know it's called the 30th anniversary project, but I don't think that actually means that it only is going to be happening during this time frame. I don't think they're just gonna, because if you look at it that way, then they're gonna get the PS3 titles out of the way, and then that would be it. What would be the point of that? You're still gonna have people wanting the older games. So I don't think that that's the case. I think the remaster project is going to continue until they've done everything. You know, like, let's go to 30th anniversary celebration. Yeah, it's like, you look at how many main characters are here that we still need their games. Oh, good, they have a timeline here. So yeah, it's like, there's so many games here that, you know, obviously for stuff like Hearts, I imagine they're going to do the R versions, even though I would much prefer them to just translate and do the DS versions, because in my opinion, the DS versions convey the story and characters a lot better. But that's not really relevant right now. But yeah, so, you know, obviously, you know, Berseria is the second most recent Tales title, you know, right before Arise. Although this is, you know, obviously Western release date. Obviously it came out in 2016. Oh, well, here it is. Okay, yeah, this is the Japanese version. Okay, this shows actually all the different versions. That's kind of cool. But yeah, so that's really pretty much all I have to say in regards to that. Can I actually look at the... Is there more game information in here? Features. Overview. No, it just has all this other stuff. Yeah, so... But that's pretty much it. So Berseria is the next one after... I still need to get started on Tales of Xillia Remastered myself. I did technically start it, but there's obviously a lot of other stuff I'm playing at the moment, so it's kind of on the back burner for now. Obviously, Tales of Berseria, quick story before we end things off. I actually originally did my first playthrough of Tales of Berseria in 2017. I actually did on my old YouTube channel, which no longer exists. But since I don't have one on this current channel, I think for the remastered version, I will likely do another playthrough. Because I was originally planning on doing one for Berseria and Zestiria anyway, so if the games are going to be remastered, I may as well, you know, just do them. So we'll definitely be doing a Japanese playthrough on the channel for Berseria and Zestiria when they come out. Obviously, like I said, Xillia 2 are not going to happen because we already have those on the channel for the old versions. If I'd already done the PS4 versions of Berseria and Zestiria, I wouldn't bother doing playthroughs, but obviously we'll do that. It's just, the release timing is going to be a bit weird, because obviously we'll be doing Trails Beyond the Horizon and Berseria, you know, within a month of each other, so there is probably going to be some overlap where you get videos from each one, you know, on the same days. But yeah, so let me know what you guys think down below. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel. I'll see you next time. Have a wonderful day, everyone.